I can't believe I have a connection to the internet, though. That is a miracle. Did you guys know that SJSU was on the news for having the worst Wi-Fi? Was it inside the country?
I don't know if it was within the country, but it was noted on ABC 7.
Oh, okay.
The worst Wi-Fi in the area.
At least in the area.
That's really sad.
Enough to be put online, so.
Should I move so I can be...
Is he in the way? Is his face, is his head in the way?
Yeah, if you can move one seat over. Perfect.
Is my face in the way, inside?
Yeah, well, we can stay with the shot.
Yeah.
Just
stick with this guy.
The problem is actually the projector, because it's, I can tilt it. There's no watching through this.
Actually, no, you can't tilt it down any further. It's just where it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right, are you rolling?
Yeah, it's rolling.
Okay.
I kind of consider myself a first.
All right, everyone. All right, so this is our second WAMAD meeting. This WAMAD meeting will be the second intro to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This time we're actually going much harder into JavaScript, and we're going to really get into it and kind of the really cool things about JavaScript. So we're going to try to stay away from the CSS and the HTML this time. Well, we'll be doing HTML because we kind of have to. But the CSS we're just going to ignore for now. So we're going to do some weird things where we style using HTML, but never ever do that. Another announcement is that if you were here for mobile development, Amaru is really busy with midterms in his life and stuff like that, so he could not make it to this meeting, but he will be at the next meeting. So after 2 weeks from now, we're all going to be good. Okay, so hello WAMADians. Today we're going over what is ECMAScript, what is JavaScript, what are the uses of JavaScript, what does JavaScript look like and feel like, and crap. For this part I was supposed to write on the board, but I guess I can't really do that here, so I'll just type it up on there. And why JavaScript is awesome. Also, this presentation program, which looks a little bit weird on this screen, is what we'll be making in the next WAMAD meeting. So you'll create the framework for this, and all you need to do is put some information to certain tags, and you'll get it to all work. All right, so what is ECMAScript? Why even talk about ECMAScript? Who the hell cares about ECMAScript? We're here for JavaScript, right? So ECMAScript is the language, and JavaScript is the dialect. I hope I spelled that right. Just like ActionScript, JScript, and there's another one I'm missing out on, but they're all really similar to each other. If anyone in here has done, there we go, this is connected, sounds about right. If anyone's done Flash animation stuff, you guys know about ActionScript. JScript, it was what IE used to use back in the day, but probably back in the day before we had AJAX calls and stuff like that. And JavaScript was another one of the derivatives, and it has no connection to Java at all. They're both, well, this is a scripting language. Java's a programming language. One's compiled, one's interpreted, and we'll actually go into that a little bit further on later. It's meant for professionals and non-professionals. It's actually one of the most popular programming languages out there. It's #1. It beats Java, beats C, beats assembly, beats Perl, beats Python, beats all of them because of the fact that most people need to use or create a website, and JavaScript is what they need in order to do a client-side programming. But it has gotten a bit of a stigma on it. For example, because everyone was able to use it, it was notoriously, people used to say, oh, it has bad syntax, it looks terrible, it's not really efficient, because of the fact that the programs people were making were just terrible in and of themselves. They also think, oh, it's one of those kind of weak programming languages. You only program in it if you kind of need to, if you're just making a website, but you wouldn't actually make any super really awesome, you wouldn't make anything that you need Java or C or anything else like that to make. You wouldn't make any games with it. You wouldn't make any APIs with it that you could use to make other things. So it kind of had a bad niche to it. But really deep down, it is meant for professionals and non-professionals. So if you're not too good with programming, or if you're new to this, this is an easy way to ease yourself into programming. It's a script language, so it's a language that uses and manipulates, customizes, and automates the facilities of an existing program. So Python, this is super echoey in here. Python is a script as well. You write your script, and what it does is it calls on functions that exist inside of that main program, or modules of that program. JavaScript does the same exact thing. It uses the facilities and the, how should I say this? It uses all of the programming kind of background that the virtual machine gives it. For example, Chrome is a virtual machine for Java. And I'll go into some other virtual machines, such as every single browser is a virtual machine for Java, but there's other emulators for Java as well, and that's kind of another slide. In such systems, its useful functionality is already available for JavaScript to use. Just more of the thing of how scripting languages work. Language overview. Now this one's probably a little bit high up for people who don't know programming or haven't gone into object-oriented based programming, but it's object-based. Literally, kind of like how Java, everything's a pointer. In JavaScript, everything is everything is an object. Literally, everything is an object. An ECMAScript program is a cluster of communicating objects. Objects are the collection of properties with 0 to more attributes, which can determine how each property can be used. I would have wrote that up and showed you what that meant, but don't have a whiteboard right now. I'll show you that later. Properties are containers that hold other objects, primitive values, and functions. If you've done C programming, you know what a primitive value is. It's your ints, it's your shorts, it's your characters, it's your strings, et cetera, et cetera. And then you also probably know what functions are. Your void, main, and stuff like that. Those are all functions. You can also get methods inside JavaScript as well, and then other objects. And the primitives are undefined, null, Boolean, number, and string. And pretty much just that. Undefined means that it doesn't have any value assessed to it. Null means kind of like an absence of an object. These are actually really different values. If you define a variable and you don't give it any value or anything immediately, it goes to undefined. But you can preset something to null. Boolean, true or false. Number, that one's kind of a weird one because everyone knows about their ints. You know, you have your ints, your doubles, your shorts, your bytes, your floats. There's also a thing called quadruples and other stuff like that. But now you're looking at this thing called number, and you're thinking, what the hell is number? Which one of those is it? Is it an int? Is it a double? Is it a float? What the heck is this? Actually, number is all of them. Depending on the interpreter you're using, it could either cast itself down into an int when need be, or bring itself up to a float. But it's always to be assumed that the primitive type for number is always going to be a floating point number. So yeah, that's the extent is how far a floating point number can get is the extent of what a number can be. And then string, everyone knows what a string is. String of text, if anyone didn't already know. We also have another part of the language overview. An object is a member of a built-in object, and I'll go inside in a sec. So it's kind of like a list of objects that the emulator comes up with. It's like, okay, so we have one object, so we'll put this on a list. We have another one, we have another one, another one, and we can call these whenever we want to. Functions are callable objects. So the functions that you guys are so used to are really just more objects that you can call and execute code inside of. Functions, that's a typo. Functions are a property of an object that, functions that are a property of an object, which we'll go into later, are called methods. And we'll go into Java literals in a sec. There are also, there's only one variable, so most likely you remember your ints, your chars, stuff like that. There's only one of those in JavaScript, and that is var. There just exists one variable, it's called var. And objects that must be provided by the interpreter are the object. So you must have some type of object to base all your other objects off of. Your function object, your array object, your string object, your Boolean object, your number object, your math object, your date object, your regular expressions object, your JSON object, and your error objects. And there's a whole bunch of error objects. And we're literally probably going to go over objects, functions, arrays, strings, Booleans, numbers, the math object we'll go into today since we're making the vector calculator. We're not going to do anything in the date object. Don't worry about regular expressions. The people who are taking a regular expressions course right now probably aren't in here because they want to blow their brains out because the course is just so insane. JSON objects, we'll go into that later on, and error objects we don't have to really deal with too much, unless you have an error. So what uses JavaScript? All right, so obviously every single web browser that's ever existed, but we also have Unity, the video game design program, the BeagleBone, which is kind of like the SHU1 board, except its own board, and Node.js, which is a really uprising server-side server-side interpreter for. That's pretty much it. It's a server-side interpreter, and you can make a lot of server-side programs with Node.js. A scheme for making your programs in that's a bit weird, though. I've never actually gone too deep into it. So it far extends normal web browsers. At least currently it does.
We also mentioned that you use JavaScript in MongoDB, and that's for
Yes. You also use JavaScript inside of MongoDB. Completely forgot about that. I'm actually using it currently. It's a database that's based around JSON objects, which we'll talk about later on. So what does JavaScript look like? I was going to show you if I was in that room over there, but don't really have it. So I'll just tell you right now, it has the good old if, else, switch, case, for, and while loops. And anything else that probably exists inside of C, Java, and most other programming languages. It has its variables, has its functions, has JavaScript literals. I meant to put objects down here as well, and arrays. And kind of after that, JavaScript kind of doesn't have anything else. And I'll explain why that's kind of cool in a sec. So why JavaScript is awesome. The way functions are treated. So typically whenever you have a function or a method, it kind of just stays where it is. It can only be used in a certain context, and that's about it. Well, in JavaScript, you can actually kind of pass them around as if they were their own variables. So you can then go, a function will then return another function to a variable, and that, if you ever call that variable, then that function gets ran again. So you can have a whole bunch of nested variables inside of each other. You can actually have a variable that will represent your, let's say, a recursive function. And I could actually go into recursion later on, but let's not worry about it now. Closures, so if anyone's done object-oriented programming, you have a thing called your class. In JavaScript, we call them closures. They act the same way as classes do, so you can get private members and members that aren't kind of secluded away from the global spectrum with closures. Dynamic typing, so let's say I have a variable. I've called it A. And at one point, I assigned the value of hello to this variable, a string. Now, somewhere down the line, I decide to reassign it to 5. In C or Java, it would tell you that you gave it the wrong value, that you cannot assign the number value 5 to a variable that's a string. This doesn't work that way. In JavaScript, you can. Now, a lot of people think, oh, that's confusing. Why would I ever want to? Why would I not know what type of? Why would it be really difficult to have this one variable, just var, and it could be anything? How do I know what it's going to be? Well, you can infer it by the values that you're passing from one function to another, the names that you give it, and you can also. I need to put on my thing before this thing shuts off. I have 60 minutes. And you can also do with an operator called type of, which will return back the type of the variable that it is. So there's actually a lot of dynamic things you can do with that. Also, conceptual purity. This one's a bit of a weird one. This is more of an opinion of the guy who I got the resources from, and I kind of agreed with his points. So most programming languages, especially Java, because it loads a whole bunch of stuff into your program before you run it. Actually, I take that back, even C. When you compile your work, there's a whole bunch of things that get loaded into your program. There's a crap ton of stuff that gets loaded in there. To make sure things are safe, to make sure things are there. Now, inside the JavaScript arena, all that stuff everything's already been taken care of for you. That's where the interpreter takes a lot care of that stuff for you. But what it gives you are the objects, and just those. So really all you have are object.
Give you more things, such as the web browser, which will give you like documents, get elements, stuff like that, where you can actually manipulate the documents here, which is the HTML. But most likely, most ECMAScripts you use come with the basic ones, and then after that, you just work with those. So you don't really get given, you're not really given stuff. So you're more obliged to start creating things yourself. Audio jacket?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
batteries for that. I got the audio going, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How's that even possible?
Using the built-in mic.
Oh, okay.
Give me just a
Yeah,
second
it's
here,
just-
Leo.
Oh, okay.
Just want to change this battery. We can blame the AV folks at
So what's
first.
that? Give us.
Faulty batteries.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try that just one more time.
All good? Testing, 1, 2, testing.
Sounds good.
Okay. So basically, it's really clean. There's not a whole bunch of things to muck up the language. You get a couple things, and you have to just roll with them. But those things can be changed and morphed into anything that you want them to be. And then to end it off, I put the resources in here, which I'll make sure to put online so people can go to them. And one of them is the ECMAScript language specification documentation. It's actually incredibly long. And then why JavaScript is awesome. So without further ado, let's get into our first project. So since you weren't here last time, anyone here new? Are you new? Okay. Oh, you as well. All right. Do you think you can just, I think you could probably sit down and just do your stuff now. Yeah, you're good. All right, let me set up my computer so I might, so that I have my charger on. Text editor, get one. Make sure you have one. You can use Notepad++, you can use gedit, you can use Vim if you want to. My favorite is Sublime Text. Oh my God, it is just awesome. It's just so awesome.
So I can use simple notepad with Windows.
You can also do that as well. Just make sure when you save your files, you save them as a .asterisk like all file types rather than doing a .txt, or it'll save it as a .txt. This guy can reach.
Okay.
Is there anything below us?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
It might.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not gonna work at all.
There's nothing below us. It's clearly crappy.
Is there a power strip on the ground for this?
No. Well, actually, maybe. Actually, hold up. You might be right. Yeah, perfect.
No, I have some power.
Okay. Okay. And I guess I can let this guy float. Maybe put this guy. All right. Anyone here not ever take physics before? Everyone knows physics? Everyone's taking physics? Yeah. All right. It's good. That means everyone knows what a vector is, right? Anyone in here taking calculus 3? Anyone else? All right, just you? You might just like this. You might just like this because of the fact that doing a whole bunch of vector stuff is going to get really tedious. Sometimes you want just a little solution to do it for you. So why do all that work when you can make the calculator yourself? Which is why this guy exists. If the internet decides to throw me a bone, probably not.
Hey, you might want to fix the calculator.
Oh, thank you, sir. This is actually the W.A.M.A.D site. Haven't uploaded the, goodness gracious. There you go. Haven't uploaded the current or the last, the one that we're doing right now. And I actually haven't uploaded the presentation either. So that'll be soon enough. And it won't help me out. But let's see. All right, so I'm going to clear all this stuff out. Actually, let's make a new one. So everyone have your text editors and your browsers open? Everyone remember how to access an HTML file from your own local computer? It's easy. Just find the URL, the location of the file, and just copy and paste that location, paste it into your browser's URL, and then find the file. Make a folder called W.A.M.A.D or something like that, so it's not like in a big old sea of other files. So, anywhere. Doesn't matter. An arbitrary location. Okay. E1. Actually, let's go V1P. So name it whatever you want to. Yeah, just make sure the extension is .html like we've done before. Yeah. Everyone have the text editors? I know you do. You better.
Yeah, pretty much ready to go.
All right. Still having some troubles? Okay.
What tool do you recommend? Just any text file or?
What tool?
Yeah, like,
Sublime Text would be awesome.
so like, if I save it .txt, is it?
No, you have to save it as a .html. It doesn't matter, as long as you have a text editor, that's a text editor and saves files. That's all you need.
Also, you can save it as a form of .html.
You have to save it as .html. But yeah, it's going to be in plain text, so yeah. And a browser, but I assume since you're a human being in the 21st century, your computer comes with a browser.
So you're executing reviews, you choose any browser. Right?
Any browser.
Mozilla, font,
Yep. Just don't use IE. Just don't use IE.
Don't use what?
IE, Internet Explorer.
Oh, don't use Internet Explorer.
Yeah. I don't support them, never will. Don't give a crap. If you're using IE, then
I use it to
I don't-
download other web browsers.
yeah, exactly. All right, so everyone has a text editor open? Okay. First things first, like all websites, you need to have your HTML tags. Specifies the root of the document. So this is where the HTML starts. Also make up your head tag, your body. I'm actually just going to do it the easy way. Boom. My body. There are no legs on this human, though, on this document, just head and body. Since we're not doing any CSS, you probably won't be using head at all. I'm not going to delete it, but the JavaScript's going to be at the bottom of the page. That's for a specific reason. And for you, Matthew, basically, head is where you store all the information about how to set up the page, and also information on what the page is going to talk about, such as title information and metadata and stuff like that. Body is where all the rendering happens.
Put JavaScript in the bottom so that body renders first.
All right, so now I'm going to be styling using HTML because I don't want to use any CSS for this one, because we're just going to bypass that right now. So don't do these practices. I'm going to go p-align, center. Especially you, don't do this. H1 and vector calc. Just align the text. Actually, I don't think I even have to do that. It's kind of arbitrary, but yeah. Vector A. Then put in the input, and the type's going to be text. ID will be AX. And actually, I just remembered. New line here. I'm going to go X, colon, without any tags around it. Copy that guy over, and AX, which will be our Y for A. Let's copy these guys. So, and then make your B. And what we're going to do simply is make a calculated as vector addition. Very, very simple. And then maybe after that we'll do dot products. Everyone got that?
Is it P dot align or is it P space?
It's P space align equals.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have that? Yeah, okie dokie. If you're not using Sublime Text. Alex. Do you have the plugins? Did you look into any of the plugins for Sublime Text?
No. Do you have this good plugins?
Just look up good plugins for HTML for Sublime Text, and you'll find a whole crap ton of them. One of them is really cool where it's like auto-format your tags to standard, but this is kind of more for view. Next time I do an email, I need to make sure to tell people that you must eat dinner before coming to this. Although I'm pretty sure we won't be here the entire time. Probably get through a lot of JavaScript stuff and not take too long.
Do we want a pizza?
So what?
Do we want a pizza?
Say what?
Do we want a pizza?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Should order pizza.
Should order pizza. Yeah, everyone can pitch in a couple bucks. We can go to San Carlos Pizza. Because I I don't like the Pizza My Heart here. It's not as good as the other Pizza My Hearts I've gone to. It's in my opinion. The only other one I went to was in Palo Alto, so yeah. And the 4th Street pizza I hear is terrible, so it's the pizza that you get when you can't get other pizza. Or like it's the really cheap pizza.
There's a good pizza place, like, on, not 4th Street, it's like,
Near the dorms?
yeah.
That's San Carlos. Fucking love that place. All right, everyone all typed up? I've heard the, all right. Next thing would be to make a button. We're going to give it the ID of calc, close that, go calculate, and that button, and what else? Oh yeah, and a div. The ID is going to be result. Okie dokie. So when we click on that button, it'll calculate something. What it will calculate? We'll find out next time. Close that guy. Does he need to be down there? I see this script. Yeah. v1-p.
Hey, what standard are you coding to, like what HTML standard?
HTML5. Makes my life easier. I didn't put the doc type up there though, just for simplicity and quickness. The follies of the document will be corrected by Google Chrome. And if I went by standard, it'd take a little bit longer for these meetings. Make sure you get that little script part down there as well. The script can be named anything you want to, but we're making 2, so I just put v1, version 1 _ p. The P is just for presentation, but that's just my own thing. You just call it v1.
I'm sorry, what is your V1?
That's going to be the location of the JavaScript file we're going to make in a little bit. I just named it that just because that's what I know I'm going to name it in a sec. Huh?
Is that directory?
No, it's just a file.
File,
So that's just the location to the file. This is going to be in the same exact directory as the file that we're making, the HTML file that we're making.
so wherever you save it, basically will be.
You need to also save the other JavaScript file. And name it whatever you want to. I just chose to make it v1 _ p. How about that worse internet? I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi card because
Obviously useless.
here it's useless. In Stanford, you don't have to worry about this crap. Let's see. All right, everyone all typed up? Are you all typed up?
Last line.
Last line. You have 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. So now, like everyone else probably knows, we need to open up this file. So most likely should happen, or what usually happens is that you set up your browser to the point where if I go to I can then just right click, go to open with Google Chrome. If it doesn't, it should be like in the, whoops-a daisy. Let's go back to this one. I can just right click and go open with, and Google Chrome or Firefox, whatever browsers you have, should be an option. Should get something that looks like this. Wait, why isn't this centered? You know what? I don't care.
It doesn't obey it when you're doing H1. So when you embed a header inside of the paragraph, it won't obey the same thing.
So I used to cheat back in the day, though.
Yeah. Well,
That's weird.
You know, browsers have gotten better over the years.
True that. True that.
They do things right.
Never. All right, so this is what we should have. Everyone got this? Did you open it up, Matthew? Is that what you got? Yeah. You sure? Okay. All right, yeah, I do. I want to check. Oh, I thought you had it. Okay, all right.
Question.
Go.
Why don't you have doc type?
I could, but
Does it matter?
it doesn't for what we're doing. You can totally put it up there if you want to, though.
Well, I mean, say I wanted to put this on my website.
Put the dog type up there. Also put in the title. Also, actually, you know what? Check up the. I don't have online. There's HTML. There's JavaScript. There's HTML, and I believe there's even CSS validators that go through your. Yeah. I'll talk to you more about those later. It's like W3C, and I think Yeah, the first meeting we actually talked about it. It's actually on.
How do you specify what next you want here?
On the W.A.M.A.D homepage. If you go to like the resources for the second one.
Like, if I want
All right, everyone got this? Got this? Got this? You sure? Yeah? Okay.
I mean, after you save it as .html, you don't need any like IDE or anything.
No, nope.
Did you guys do this last week?
No, we did not. We did something different. We did a simple form, a very simple form, but we did a little more CSS in that one. This one I'm doing is CSS.
So it's a different application.
Yes. Last time was just inputs a name, some other text, and then just concatenate those strings. So, you can put a whole bunch of text in here and a whole bunch of other stuff. Oops, didn't mean to do that. But nothing will happen because we haven't really put any scripting in here. We haven't activated anything, so I can click this all I want, get out of here. Nothing will happen. So let's get into the JavaScript. Let's go hardcore right now. So, open up another new page or new document.